Hi everybody, Honest John here. I have been traveling the world doing shows for American troops stationed overseas since the early 1990s. I've made trips to Europe, the Middle East, Southeast Asia, Africa, and the Far East. The two most common destinations that I have gone to are South Korea and Japan. We have a lot of bases there, and I've been there many times. Now, I don't remember exactly when it started happening, but at some point, it became very common on my trips to Asia to see people wearing masks on the plane. I'm guessing that it must have been after the 2009 SARS epidemic, but it might have been earlier than that. But the great majority of Asians on the plane would be wearing masks, while none of us Americans would be. I never asked about it, I never even gave it much thought. But they weren't just wearing the masks on airplanes. When I would leave the base to go sightseeing in Japan or Korea, face coverings were very common in both of those countries. Not everyone was wearing them, but thinking back on it, it seems to me that most of the people were, in any situation that was crowded. And if you think about it, it makes sense. The COVID-19 epidemic that we are currently enduring has been a large-scale lesson on how germs are spread. Now, not all of them are airborne. AIDS, for example, and other sexually transmitted diseases are spread through very close sexual contact. So syphilis, gonorrhea, genital warts, herpes, and other STDs, you have to have sex to get them. And that's something that we've all learned, and that's why we all know it's a good idea to wear a condom. Not everybody does, but it's a hell of a risk to take to not wear a condom if you're having sex with somebody you don't know any very well. And plus there's the additional risk of an unwanted child. So wearing a condom has never been a political issue. Nobody is arguing that it's a violation of our constitutional rights to not wear a condom. It's just a smart thing to do if you're having sex with someone that you're not well acquainted with. But most communicable diseases are spread through the air. It is the fastest, most efficient way for a disease to spread. And the Asian people, having learned that lesson during the SARS epidemic, didn't stop wearing face coverings when that epidemic ended. And that's part of the reason why, even though COVID-19 began in Asia, they had much less warning that it was coming. They were able to handle it much better than we were, because they were already halfway there. Wearing a mask was not odd or unusual, and it certainly wasn't political. Many of the people in those countries were already in the habit of wearing masks, and those who weren't had no problem wearing them after the virus started spreading in their countries. Here in the U.S., the mask debate rages on, even as the Trump virus continues to spread and the death toll rises. Now, for the time being, I'm staying home as much as possible and wearing a mask when I go out. Now, eventually, this nation and the world will return to some semblance of normal. Of course, if Trump wins in November, it will take a lot longer because he is resolutely against testing, tracing, and wearing masks, which are the steps needed to control the virus even after we develop a vaccine for it. Those are the things that will need to be done to stop the spread of the virus. So we will not gain control of the coronavirus as long as Trump is in the White House. But even after this virus is no longer a threat, I will continue to wear a mask. It just makes sense. It's not just the coronavirus that is spread by people breathing. It's colds, it's the flu, and other illnesses. Many illnesses spread that way. And if I can cut down my exposure to those illnesses, it just makes sense to do that. And also, somewhere out there, another germ that will cause the next great pandemic is incubating. It may come from Asia, Europe, Africa, or right here in the United States. But it will come here. And we will not know that it's here until people start getting sick and dying. So I will be wearing my mask for the rest of my life when I go out, and especially in a crowd. And so should you. So should everybody else. Thanks for listening.